He was in Singapore. He was a big part of 1X. He's the one and only Mighty Mouse, Demetrious Johnson. There he is. What's up, DJ? How are you?
What's up, Ariel?
Oh, not much. Just chilling, just living. I woke up in Dallas this morning, DJ, and here I am in New York City doing this show. How about that? How about that kind of commitment?
I was going to say, your energy level a little bit.
Oh, you're not feeling
down.
me? You're not feeling me? Okay. I'll show you energy, DJ. I'll show you. No, you know what? Ultimate compliment on a show like this where I had 1 hour sleep. You know, you call upon your buds, because the people you want to talk to, the people that put you in a good mood, you're the first guest of the show. So if that's not the ultimate compliment, what is? All right?
Hey, well, let's get you all excited. How was Dallas? You have a good time?
I had a good time. Thank you for asking. I was at WrestleMania.
Oh, dope. I saw Logan Paul's outfit. He looked like Sabretooth from the 95 X-Men Classic show.
Yes, he looked incredible, if you ask me, right? I mean, what a bod.
Yeah, good for those guys, man. Good for those guys. You know, look, they're in WrestleMania. Never wrestled. They haven't competed in fucking WWE, right. Raw, or NW. None of that stuff. And look at them getting a chance to walk right into WrestleMania. Good for those guys.
Would you ever do that?
Yeah, I think I'll do it. Why not? It'd be for fun. Like for a big event like that, WrestleMania. Sure, why not?
Man, you flipping around over there, I mean, I think you would actually be incredible. You'd be one of those like high flyer cruiserweights. Cruiserweights in WWE isn't like cruiserweight in boxing. It's one of the smaller guys. So you would be one of those guys. I think you would be fantastic.
I don't want to be flying around. I'll just be running around super fast and then jumping on people and like doing like kicks and shit.
Would you come out in a Mighty Mouse suit?
No.
It's weird.
No.
I mean, this is the second time that you poo-poo the Mighty Mouse idea. I feel like you don't actually like this nickname.
I mean, I like it. I like Mighty better, You don't get to pick your nicknames. You can't choose them. So, like I said, if it was for me, my nickname would just be Black Ice or Mighty. I like Mighty. Like when I play games, some of my teammates call me Mighty. Like, watch out, Mighty. So that's just stuck to me more.
By the way, I may have asked you this like 12 years ago when we first met, but who did give you the Mighty Mouse nickname?
It was my coach friend, Steve Skids. He was my first coach, and at the gym I was training at, I was the smallest guy there. And I'll be training with, the middleweights, heavyweights, and I love superheroes, comic books. And he was like, yeah, your nickname's Mighty Mouse. And I was like, oh, perfect. And then I came out with it like my second amateur fight, and everybody loved it. So it stuck.
All right, so let's talk about 2 Saturdays ago, 1X. What a scene. It was fun. What a show. Did you enjoy it? First off, like the whole thing, the fans back. Seems like you did.
Dude, the show, not just the grand finale, but part 1, part 2, and obviously the grand finale. Like that kickboxing, the Hiro Akamoto versus Capitan. Holy shit. Like I was in the room watching it, and I was like, this is fucking amazing. Like if you're a fan of like just fights in general, like that show was absolutely amazing because you had the grappling, you had the kickboxing, you had the Muay Thai, you had the mixed martial arts, you had everything on the menu. Like it was full course. It had everything. So I loved it, and have the fans back. That was a very nice treat. I think it was a sold out arena. I know Singapore's still at that capacity level for COVID restrictions, but absolutely amazing show from start to finish.
By the way, what is it like over there now, life? Like, did you have to, correct me for not knowing the details, but you don't have to quarantine and all that stuff, right?
So this time around, it was a lot better than my previous time I was in Singapore. We got there, we did a COVID test, mine came back negative, and we can go anywhere in the hotel at any time we wanted. We just couldn't leave the hotel.
Oh, man.
And so I was able to swim, I was able to work out, get like an hour and a half workout. When I went there last time, I was fighting Adriano, it was like, you get 45 minutes out of your room and that's it.
Wow.
And then you're right back in there. So that was, that was a little bit struggle, but this was night and day difference. Like I felt better, adjusted way better. It was just a way better experience this time.
So you can't even go for a walk on the street, like get fresh air or something like that? You can't just like stroll around?
Well, not right now. So we could have, but one championship didn't want to take the risk of one of the athletes going out and getting COVID and coming back, because we did have to test before we went to the arena. And if we were to go out and get COVID, because COVID's still, I mean, COVID's still running around, you know, getting through people's front door and shit. So they want us to come back, go out, come back, test positive for COVID. The next thing you know, the card is, you know, ruined. So nobody on the card, I believe, tested positive for COVID. Every fight on the card was a go. Everybody made weight. So it was perfect. And then after we fought, they're like, y'all do whatever y'all want now. Go ahead, go up. And I was like, shit, it's 1 a.m. I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least you got to work out and swim and all that stuff. By the way, not to make excuses, but can we chalk the previous loss to maybe not being able to like have a proper training workout week? You know what I mean? Like maybe that's why you lost Adriano. No, I'm trying to.
Nah. He came out and he performed that night. So we had the same stipulations. He came out, he performed and got that finish. So, you know, I don't say, oh, that one doesn't count. Losses are losses, you know, and I take it like a man and I give people their losses like a man too. And, you know, it's part of the game.
Okay, so I talked to you before the fight. You were still like a little bit iffy on the rules. You didn't really know everything. Once you got there, I'm sure they brought you up to speed. Were you nervous going into that first round because you couldn't use some of your great, you know, tools like the wrestling, like the grappling?
Well, I was a little nervous because I always revert back to my natural instincts, which is if somebody's going to close the distance like he did, like that was the thing I was really impressed about. Like right when the fight started, he just walked right across the fucking cage and punched me in the face. And that's when I came in and started body lock him. And once I body locked him, I went and I threw 2 knees and they stopped. And he goes, "Oh, you can't do that." And I'm like, in mixed martial arts, when we clinch at AMC, that is part of clinching for us. Like you clinch somebody, body lock, you can throw knees, you know, angle them and throw a knee from the left side. But he said you have to stop. And if you go back and watch the fight, to give you more context about this, if you go back and watch the Hiro Okamoto versus Capitan fight, Capitan is a Muay Thai fighter. So he's a champion in kickboxing, but he likes to push forward and clinch. Like when you can tell a Muay Thai guy who's fighting a kickboxer, because when the Muay Thai guy starts losing the kickboxer, they rush in, they close the distance, and they start clinching immediately. So if you go back and watch that fight against Hiro, he starts clinching him immediately. And the refs started breaking him. Like, stop clinching, stop breaking the rules. Then he got fined 10%. Then he got fined 20%. And I told Matt, I was like, Matt, I ain't coming over here to lose 10% of my paycheck, okay? I ain't about that life. We're going to fight. I know I'm going to get hit. We're going to exchange. So if you go back to my fight, if you go back to my fight, you'll see part of the fight when we're clinching, I'm like this. Like my hands are straight out because I don't want to get dinged for any points. Because naturally, like for me, I'm gonna grab and step to the right and dump. So I'm like this, throwing knees. And I told Ben, I was like, it was the hardest thing to do because naturally I want to clinch. And somebody crosses distance like that, that's takedown. Easy money. You're closing distance for me, easy takedown. That was the only hardest thing. And then once I think after the minute and a half, I started to settle in. And then that's when I just started like trying to throw combinations. And I was getting hit with some pretty good shots from Rodtang. But, you know, it's part of the fight.
3-minute rounds. How did that feel? I mean, you only had to go through one of them because you finished him in the second.
Oh, that was easy.
That first round must have flown by, right?
It flies by. Like being used to a 5-minute round, I feel like, and how I fight, I'm always in it. You know what I mean? Like I'm always trying to find angles, trying to, you know, do some things, try to engage. But the 3 minutes, you know, it went by and I wasn't even breathing hard. And he wasn't either because he's more of a slow starter too. But for me, I'm used to 5 minutes. So, and the training camp for this, like the sparring rounds are pretty just like that. Like there'll be times where Matt would just be all over me and just basically blitz me.
By the way, you mentioned Matt a couple times, your longtime head coach, Matt Hume, who also works for One. You can't have him in your corner. How much did you miss that?
No, I miss it. Yeah, I miss it. I miss lining up in the hallway and having a chick, you know, count down 10 seconds and then that's, you know, rubbing my neck and getting me in the right mindset. But it's part of my journey as a mixed martial artist, you know. It's something that we knew that was going to happen. And it's giving me opportunity to go out there and compete almost on my own. Like my teammates, they do a great job. Like I got the cornerman mic information and I'm at this part of my career where I feel like what gets me through my fights is my fundamentals. from my amateur career and my amateur career. And what I mean by that is that if somebody has good fundamentals, like if I take somebody down, I'm posturing up, I'm going ankles, knees, hip to pass guard. Once I pass guard, it's position for submission. On the feet, you always want to circle away from the power. If you're going to circle towards the power, circle away from the power so they overextend. So it's all fundamentals that I feel like I revert back to. And then obviously the conditioning and the little pieces of the training camp and the sparring. But I revert back to my fundamentals when I'm fighting without Matt being in my corner. And then when I get back to the corner, my teammates give me my advice. And then, but this time I go back to the corner. My teammates goes, "This your round, baby. This your round. You take it to him." I was like, "Okay, let's go get it, boys." So it was fun.
And when you're there on fight week, are you still not like? Are you not training with him? Are you not? How does that work? Like, when does the communication end?
I mean, we can talk and like, you know, if Chachu's there, Chachu will be talking to all the athletes too. But we don't train together, and you know, and then he will like, "Good luck, have fun, and just go out there and fight. Like, don't worry about anything, just go out there and fight." And your natural instincts will, you know, your trainer will come to play in the fight, and that's it.
Your wife always used to be at your fights in the UFC. Does she not go to these now? I know she didn't go last year, but was she at this one?
With COVID, my wife don't play that game. My wife will show up and be like, "I have a negative COVID test, and you're gonna lock me in this room. Ain't fucking happening. I need it." Mm-mm. So we're hoping in my next fight she'll be able to come, but it doesn't make any sense for her to fly all the way to Singapore and sit in the hotel room,
right,
just to go to the fight. You know, so yeah. Once the country opens back up, I think she'll continue to come to my fights.
Do you miss that?
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, when I'm in training camp, she's in training camp too, because she's taking care of the kids. She's making sure I have the proper food to eat. So for her, you know, when I go out there and compete and fight, it's a big relief for her because she's a huge part of the product, because she's at home, take care of the kids, make sure my food's good. Then I would have to do all that myself. So in a sense, it's almost like a victory for her as well when I win and she gets to be part of it.
When you went into that second round, were you like, all right, I could use my grappling, I could use my wrestling, I need to finish this guy so I don't have to do the first round all over again? Because it was Muay Thai, MMA, Muay Thai, MMA.
Yeah, so I knew that he was going to use more footwork and not come forward like he did the first round. And I just wanted to make sure, and I told my teammates and I told Matt that, and I was like, I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to rush it. I don't care if we get to this. If we get to this second round and I don't give him to the ground or submit him, I'll go to a third round and do Muay Thai again. I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to rush and put myself in a position where I'm going to overextend and get caught and get knocked out. Like, I'd rather take my time, get there. And when I get there, I'm just going to work and then try to get him out of there.
Got the sub. Felt pretty good, right? Nice to get a win again, even though I felt like you were kind of like a little kid. You see that even when you're laughing. Why are you laughing? I felt like you were like a little, like you almost viewed this as like an exhibition. Like that's not the win that gets your mojo back, even though it's a win because it wasn't an MMA fight and all that, right? I
never felt that I lost my mojo, right? I think there's a UFC fighter, Jessie. I think she's a 115, 125, I'm not sure.
Jessica Rose Clark?
She says, huh?
Jessica Rose Clark with the tattoos?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Her last weigh-in, she looked like fucking Harley Quinn. She had, tattoo in her eye, Monster Energy sponsor. Yeah, so she posted something and she said she saw like a sports psychiatrist, and she said that us as athletes are so attached to our wins and our losses. Like, and you win, you're up, and when you lose, you're down. And there's another coach. He's a motocross, supercross coach that I listen to, and he talks about a rider, like a supercross or a motocross rider will ride almost every other weekend, and they win their races and they lose their races. And he says the biggest thing about a racer is that you need to watch out for their development in their racing, because if a racer is always trying to get that first place and they don't get it, then they're depressed and they're down on themselves. So I listen to these people and I take certain things from them, where when I win my fights, yes, it feels great. It feels amazing. And when I lose, it sucks. And, I don't want to lose. So I try to keep myself at just even playing field. So the fight against Rodtang was a great fight. Loved it. Very happy I got the victory. And it was awesome to share the ring with him. And, you know, I'm just humble and I'm grateful that I was able to get this win and be able to come out healthy and unscathed.
Were you always like this? Like, did you always have this approach to winning and losing? Or is that something you develop over time as an athlete?
I develop over time as an athlete and I see other people go through it, you know? And yeah, I think being in the game for so long, you know, I lost to Dom, Henry, Pickett, Adriano. Like, you learn from those, right? And I come back home and I get right back in the gym and start training for the next one. Even when I was on consecutive title defenses, came home, got right for the next one. So I just like to have that mindset because it just helps me as an athlete. Like, it just keeps me healthy and it keeps my mental health good too.
Do you, when you see athletes like freak out after a loss, right? Like, allow it to, you know, take over their life and they crumble, and it like, when you see that, what does that say to you?
I try to tell my dog, it's all good. Like, and Adrian said something to Stan Fairtex too. He said it was on one championship behind the scenes. Stan Fairtex came to Adriano and he goes, I wanted to win so damn bad. He goes, I know, but today you have to learn. Today it was your time to learn. And I was like, that's one of the things I love about the athletes that won championship is like, we're all fucking just chill. Like, I'm in the back, Rodtang's in the back. You know what I said? Rodtang, I said, hey dog, I said, when I hit you, I was like, did it hurt? And he goes, nah. I was like, okay, I'll take that one. And then I go, okay. Did I hit as hard as all the other people you fight? And he goes, it's all the same. Y'all don't know. It's all the same. Wow. I was like, okay, at least I'm look, we're just chilling. You see, you know, Angela Lee back there with her baby and Stamp, they're talking. I'm back there. I was talking to Adriano. I was talking to Yuya Wakamatsu. Like, we're all athletes and we're all professional, right? Like, we all want to win and we all want to see each other win and do good. But when the cage closed or when we step in the ring, we want to go out there and put on the best performance for the fans, and we also want to win. But we never want to, you know, degrade one another, right? So, you know, yeah, it's just dope vibe over there. It's just different.
You love it.
You ain't got people sneaking up on you at the steakhouse trying to knock their tooth out. You know what I mean?
I bet you see that stuff and you're like, damn, thank God I'm not a part of this, right? This circus. I want no part of this.
I was like two grown men. I was like, it's just not the way you want to do things.
Yes. Well, at least not for you. But by the way, you say all that, and I believe most of what you just said, but Sexyama and Aoki were pretty tense up there, right? I mean, they weren't punching each other at the steakhouse, but it wasn't love, you know, it wasn't la-di-da, lovey-dovey.
Sexyama called him an uncivilized gangster. Yeah. I lost my shit when he said that.
Did you meet him?
You know, who's Sexyama?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him before, and I feel like we fought on the same card together in my UFC days. I'm not sure. But yeah, great guy. I told him to hit me up with one of those shirts he's got, one of those, you know, those damn deep
yeah. You like those?
Shirts. But what's that?
You like those?
I like them. It's different. It's a little sexy swag, you know? So I said, send me an extra small, and a large for my boy. So we'll rock that.
But you were going to say something before about like their tension.
Yeah. So their tension. Yeah. I feel there is some bad blood, but right after the fight, they went to each other, they bowed, they talked, and they respect one another, and they go about their lives. It's not something you take outside of, I should say, the promotion. Like, who knows, they might, if they were to bump heads in Japan, I'm pretty sure they'll be respectful for one another. But then again, you know, they never cross that boundaries of talking about each other's families and stuff like that. So, but there is some bad blood over there. But for all the guys I've ever competed with or been surrounded by, it's always been chill vibes. Like from Fairtex camp to American Top Team to Angela Lee's corner, even Yuya Wakamatsu's corner. I saw him and we're talking. I mean, it's like we're all college students and we're all competing against each other and we go back to the dorms together.
Has there been any talk of coming to America? I know there was talk before the pandemic. You hearing anything?
Yeah, it's definitely in the works. Like, obviously with COVID-19 and with One Championship being a Singapore-based promotion, trying to get over here is a lot more effort, especially with all of the. I think COVID really just is really holding it back, to be honest with you. That's the biggest thing.
Do you care? Like, are you like, man, I can't wait to fight back home, or do you not really care?
Yeah, I mean, the only place I miss fighting is Vegas. I just love fighting in Vegas. There's no taxes. It's a 3-hour flight. Everything's open. Great, amazing food. But I have been really enjoying, fighting over in, Asia. Only thing I don't like about it is just the time difference, and the travel is like 18 hours. So it's pretty brutal.
Damn.
And then coming back, so I'm about to go back for my buddy James. He's fighting on April 22nd. So I'm about to go back. I'm like, 18-hour flight. And then the time zone change, get back, like switching time zones and trying to get acclimated to the time zone is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my career. Like, weight cutting is easy. I'll sit my ass in that tub and boil 8.5 pounds off, jump on the scale, Gucci. But going there, trying to get sleep, and then waking up, and then I just despise it.
Is it 18 hours direct?
No, so it's 10 hours. So my last flight was 10 hours to Japan. Then it's like 2.5 hour layover. Okay. And then it's like 8 hours from Japan to Singapore, 7 to 8 hours to Singapore. So it's a long trip. And when you get to Singapore, it's like, we got there, it was 1 a.m. So it's just it's just a lot of traveling.
Now, so Adriano also fought. He's still the champ. Mm-hmm. Are you fighting him next? Are you getting a rematch?
No, I don't believe so. I think I'm going to be fighting probably a couple more before earning that title shot again. Wow. His fight against Yuya Wakamatsu was pretty good. It was a great contest. I thought Yuya did a great job. And Adrian, he's tough, man. Like, he has an interesting way about going about how he fights. He's longer, and he likes to play the distance. And they were both counter strikers. So for me, I felt the last time I fought him, I just like to fight. Like, I like to just, like, the one thing I loved about the Rodtang fight was that he brought the fight to me and I responded, right? So typically, Matt says, I excel when the fight gets going. Like, when you're out there and you're trying to play this long range game, that's not you can do that. You have the skill set, but you excel when you start fighting because, one, you're mentally tough, your conditioning is great, and you have great fundamentals. Like, you don't make a mistake and then use your opponents make a mistake and you start getting ahead of them. You start, you look at all my previous fights, I always started getting ahead of my opponents and their conditioning can't keep up. So for me, I have to almost pull back. Like, when I look at the last time when I fought him, I felt like if I was more patient, then it would have been, I don't think I would have got caught by the uppercut and ate that knee. But if I was to play the long distance game, kind of how Yuya Wakamatsu would have done, I probably got fucking yellow card and lost 10% of my pay because I wasn't going to commit. You know what I mean? So it's a hard fight to approach. And I know it's a hard fight to approach, and I respect that's a hard fight to approach. So I want to make sure the next time I do get that opportunity, it will probably be my last opportunity. I want to make sure I'm fully prepared for that fight. Instead of all these guys, oh man, what's that next title shot? Dog, I'm ready for it. You ass ends up losing, and next thing you know, it's like, well, now you can get a title shot. You should have did 2 more. It's like the brand Figueiredo versus Brendan Moreno. It's like, why do a 4th fight? Why? It's like, fight Pantoja. Let Pantoja fight. Let Kai France fight. Fight somebody totally different. Go out there, get your mojo back if you feel like you need it, and move and get a fresh look in front of you. Right? Like, everybody's always trying to chase this title. Don't chase the title. The title will come if you're worthy for it, right? If your path leads you to that. Don't just try to run down the road and run into the same fucking roadblock. Like, fight something else, and maybe you'll find something else in the other fights that you go against. And then when you approach that roadblock, you're like, I know how to do this time. It's not the same. It's not the same thing I've been looking at for the past 2 to 3 years. Like, do something different. That's my opinion, but that's just me.
That's great insight. That's great insight on multiple fronts because, like, in the past, you've always been like, oh, I don't pay attention. I don't pay attention. You pay attention to everything. You knew the whole situation. You know everything.
I pay attention to everything, but I don't have to talk about it. I don't go on Twitter like, I can do this. I have my opinions and I have my insight on things, but, when somebody asks me about it, then I'll give my opinion on it. Or if we're on that conversation about my situation with Adriano, I feel it's the same thing with Figueiredo and Brendan Moreno. Like, yes, it makes a line of money sense for the UFC and maybe for the athletes too. But if you go and fight him I know how the UFC contracts are structured. So whether Brandon Moreno fights Figueiredo or fights Kai France, I'm sure he's trying to get the same pay. Their boys ain't get pay-per-view points. They never gave flyweights pay-per-view points. So don't act like y'all getting, 800,000 pay-per-view buys. That's those guys. So you better off fighting Kai France or Pantoja. And then if you get that, boom, you're showing your win. So you probably made 250. Okay, then you might be on an escalator. So you fight another one. There's another 250. So you just made 500K. And now you fight for the world title. Then you get your 30K Reebok sponsorship. And then you're like, hey, I got 2 fights on my contract. You know what? I don't want to resign. I'm going to fight this one. I believe in myself. You guys, then you fight. And then let's say you win the belt. Next thing you know, you're in a great position. So it's better to fight, just to fight, to make your money. Because at the end of the day, that's what we do for us, fight and make money. Then go for the, shit. I can go on all fucking day, man.
This is great insight. This is great. I feel like more people should ask your opinion on these things.
No, because they won't like it.
What do you mean? The proof is in the pudding.
That's why I don't know. That's why I get in arguments, and I hate getting arguments because everybody has their own opinion.
It's interesting. You pay attention more to flyweight than you do bantamweight, even though you fight at 135 these days, right? Like there's more of a personal connection to 125, right?
No. I look at 135. I look at the Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling fight's gonna be amazing. Sean O'Malley, he's a great example about the same situation. He was like, or even Patty Pimlet. He was like, he said, "Nah, I'm not gonna fight a top 10 or top 15." I'm like, what? See, like my mindset back in the day when I fought, Matt says, we just fucking fight. That's what we do. Like, don't worry about the money. The money's going to come. Just keep on fighting. So when he said he won't take it, I think he said he won't take a top 10 or top 15. He's making 12 and 12. I understand that. That is, for how much he brings to the table, contracts, it is what it is. Shit, when I first fought, it was 3 and 3. Okay. But with him saying he won't take a top 15, I'm like, when they're like, you want to fight Rodtang, the best fighter in the world? I was like, sure, let's do it. You want to do They're like, you want to fight a Muay Thai belt? I was like, I don't need a Muay Thai belt, but I'll fight him in Muay Thai. And I told Matt, I was like, we get paid to fight. We don't get paid to pick and choose what we're going to do. So, but yeah, I paid to 135. I'm super excited for Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling. That's going to be a great fight. I'm sure Sean O'Malley's doing great. Dominic Cruz, Aldo. Yeah, I watch those guys. I'm also a fan of those guys too.
I love this, man. I wish you didn't drop all this knowledge on us at the very end of the interview. Because I'd love to pick your brain more about the business and advice and all that stuff. Unfortunately, we have to go. Could I just ask, when are you going to come back? When do you think you'll come back?
It'd be summertime.
Okay. I like this. A little activity here from DJ. This is nice. Do you have an opponent?
No opponent yet. Nope. It's going to be July or August, summertime. So I got a couple trips. And then I'll be right back in the training camp. I'll go to the gym right after this to hit some weights and then, get back into it.
You're the man, DJ. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. How's my energy level towards the end? Better?
It was great. It's great. It's always great, Ariel.
I love you. That was great stuff. And I think more fighters should ask for your opinion on these matters. It was nice to get some insight into this incredible brain that you have when it comes to fight sports. Congrats on the win. Thank you for doing this as always, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, brother. Have a good day.
There he is, DJ.